Hello, everyone. Bear with me while I get everything ready here. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Hi, everybody. We have a special guest, B Cook. We're doing this on X, Rumble, YouTube, and Spaces. So those of you who are watching right now on YouTube and Rumble, if you want to join into the discussion, you can by going to X and going into Spaces. And if you follow me, it'll be easier to find it. I don't know if I can put a link or not. B Cook, do you know if I can put a link out there for Spaces? You use it on the phone a lot more. I only use it on the desktop.
Yeah, you can do that. You just type in the link and then send it. Or even in the profile?
You see, when I see it in the desktop, it says x.com/home. I know that's not right.
Where are you trying
wait a minute. You know what? Here's a little arrow that says share. Okay, copy link. Okay, I'll put it in the Rumble chat.
Should I introduce myself?
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Bethany, also known as @bcook on Twitter. And my Substack is bethanyhendrickson.substack.com. So if you would like to check out my channels, feel free to do so. I am a patriot, but I'm also very passionate about cooking. So once you go to my channels, you'll see recipes, easy recipes posted. So if you are trying to learn how to cook or you'd like some easy, affordable recipes, feel free to follow me. Thanks for joining today.
So we decided at the last minute, because hurricane is now a hurricane, a Category 1 Hurricane Milton is now barreling across the Gulf and is going to definitely at this point make landfall on the west coast of Florida. And so I think it's probably a little early for everyone to panic. However, there's a lot of different information that's coming out about it. And we just figured we'll take the afternoon on a Sunday to kind of talk about it and see what other people are seeing. Bethany, you introduced me to the Dennis Phillips Facebook page, which I've been religiously going on.
Yeah, I've been following Dennis Phillips for years. I wish we could have gotten him on here as a special guest, but we just decided to do this just to kind of bring people together, give them hope, and talk about it. There was an update that was just released about 33 minutes ago from Dennis Phillips, and he states that Milton's rapid intensification is well underway, and the storm is now a Category 1 hurricane with winds of 80 miles per hour. Next track update comes in around 5 p.m. Now, those of you that have been through this as many times as Dennis and myself have been, we've lived here for about 23 years. We're pretty much familiar with how the updates work. They usually come out around 11 a.m. and then again at 5, and then I believe it again at 11 p.m. So, but Dennis does a great job. Dennis Phillips, not Dennis Hendrickson.
Wait a minute.
Well, he does a great job too. But Dennis Phillips is kind of my go-to person because he does update you throughout the day, which is really, really nice. So it really makes you feel like you can stay on top of things. But anyways, yeah, he's my go-to guy.
Trying to get the spaces up here.
So, Dennis, if you want to maybe talk about what your thoughts are or your opinion is on what we were talking about last night and this morning about like the track of the hurricane.
Yeah, it's
like
this
the
is
wind
this
and
is what
things.
I mean. I'm to be honest, I'm it's stressful because they keep changing it, which is typical. I mean, we've been through enough of these where they do change throughout the hour, or several hours, I should say, each time they give an update. And instances like Charlie and some others have just sort of abruptly changed their path kind of at the last minute. And we've had these before. We were discussing it earlier, where the path was right through where we live, and then all of a sudden it changes, and it's significantly, not just a small movement. But I think originally this the path of the hurricane, or all of the models were having it go really just going right through Tampa Bay. Now it looks like it's going to be going through Sarasota, and it's possible that maybe even a little bit farther south. So it seems to be trending, and this is what Dennis Phillips said in one of his breakdowns, was you have to look at the trends as opposed to looking at each individual update. So it seems to be trending more or further south. And then he gets into the different quadrants of the hurricane, and definitely over time I've learned that what direction that hurricane is going in that north, if it's, just picture it as a circle, whatever direction it's going in, it's going to be, the tip or the front of the hurricane slightly to the right. That's where the most dangerous part is. And so it's kind of south in this particular situation, the way it's coming towards us. So, Sarasota area, kind of south of Tampa, looks like that's going to be the worst of it. But then again, who knows, because it's not going to make landfall until Wednesday. It's amazing to me how they can figure that out. And then, is there going to be wind shears or going to be dry air that's going to weaken it before it gets here? That's the other thing. It's the category that's also very worrying. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I said, we've been through enough of these where you feel like you feel confident in where it's going to go, and then we've had hurricanes where they've changed at the last minute. Some move very quickly. Others, just you get slammed with rain, and it just stays in one spot. So yeah, it's really anybody's guess at this point. The spaghetti models, obviously, which we're quite familiar with, that we stay glued to every time something is coming down. They generally, I think, if they're all pointing in one direction, like, so they have so many different spaghetti strings, but if they're all pointing in the same direction, that those are pretty accurate, I think. But as far as, they can have spaghetti models that are like across the board. So that's kind of what makes things difficult, because you just never know what direction it's going to go in. But the tighter the eye is, that's also kind of concerning. It's not, this one looks like it's, small, and it's not a large area. Yeah. It seems like it's really a tight eye, and it's fast moving. Is that an accurate statement in your opinion?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So I hate those ones.
But it's fast moving, so I don't know, maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah. So what is everyone else doing to prepare for the storm? Today I went out and bought a bunch of groceries. Luckily, I went out early because I was out of groceries to begin with, so that was fun. But just getting stuff that, if we lose the power, that we can eat. what is everyone else doing? Are they boarding up? Are they evacuating? Are they? I don't even know how many people are watching us right now, but
virtually none. So that's encouraging. Went from 8 to 0 on YouTube. It's almost like YouTube.
It must have been me. Was it something I said?
No, hopefully everybody's out preparing for the hurricane. Maybe, I don't know. There's 3 on Rumble, 0 on X. It's on highly unusual.
Yeah, I see that on X. I can only see it on X right now. That's all I'm on right now.
And nobody's in the
YouTube.
Yeah, there's one in YouTube. That kind of changes here and there, but and then in the spaces there's just you and me. So we'll give it a little bit more time. If no one comes in, and we'll just end it because there's no point.
Yeah.
0 across the board. All
right.
I guess see, it's sort of indicative too of I mean, it was nice to actually see more people. Maybe they can't hear us. I never checked that. That was pretty dumb.
Do you want me to do it on my space real quick? I'm in there.
Yeah, see if I think
hopefully I don't get background noise. Hello?
I never checked that. Yeah, that's working.
Do you want me to do it on my space? Okay.
But yeah, we'll have a conversation amongst ourselves.
Yeah, like we normally do.
But yeah, at the gas station I saw a decent amount of people.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to wait at all to get gas, but I did notice, I was telling you before, that more people started pulling in.
Yeah.
I saw one guy getting more gas.
How many times did you retweet this?
Just once.
Retweet it like 2 more times.
Okay.
Because a lot of people follow you. And if you haven't followed Dennis on Twitter yet, I would suggest you do so. He has a lot of really cool spaces and interacts with a lot of people that are very well known. I won't mention any names, but he does do a lot of really great political updates and current events and things of that nature. So if you have not joined him yet, his handle is at Dennis Hendrickson on Twitter.
Yeah.
Well, one more thing I will say about the hurricane is there's a lot of really great things that I'll go back to Dennis Phillips one more time because, again, he just does such a good job that he gives you like tips on how to prepare. That's on Facebook, on his Facebook page. So if you haven't gone there, yeah, I would check that out because he literally has a whole list of tips to prepare for the hurricane, and a vast majority of those I wasn't even aware of. And I feel like I'm pretty good or pretty organized when it comes to preparing for these things. So definitely check that out because they're really helpful tips.
What was it that you said to look at? Yeah, sorry, I was
on Dennis Phillips.
Yeah.
He did this before before Helene, and he just posted it again, I noticed. And I reposted it, so he probably saw that I did that, so he posted it. But he gives really great tips on how to prepare for the hurricane.
Oh yeah, that's right. There was like 20 or something.
There's a ton of them, and a lot of them I wouldn't even think of. Like,
yeah,
really good information.
Yeah.
So he just came out with an update 7 minutes ago, it looks like.
Okay.
The GFS continues to keep its track more north.
See, this is the thing that's so annoying.
Let me be clear. No one is out of the woods yet. We've seen hurricanes change track 6 hours before landfall. We are 3 days out. That's a long time out to try and pinpoint landfall with 20 or 30 miles. Still, I expect the NHC might bump a bit more south at 5. Keep preparing for the worst and hope for the best. We got this. Yeah. It's just so crazy to look at the map and see like the spaghetti models like literally going right over us.
No.
It's so crazy to me. In that direction too. I mean, we never see that.
No.
I'm not going to say we never have seen that, but it's very, very rare.
Well, it's something that hasn't happened in 100 years, I heard somebody say today.
I mean, and I'm terrible at geography, but I've never seen it organize in the place that it organized to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen that. So that the 100 years thing makes sense. But when I have seen this happen where it's in that, like the Gulf closer to us, like that tropical depression has spun up right near us before, right? Or once come through and then it's kind of regenerated again.
Yeah.
But not that far out, and that's where it actually generates. I've never seen that before. In that area. And those poor people in Florida that haven't even recovered from Helene. I mean, they've got destroyed furniture on the sides of the roads that hasn't even been picked up yet. Just rubbish, furniture. Those poor people on the island.
So here I have Rumble is really becoming a problem.
Why?
It's a real problem. It is virtually impossible to live stream without having issues with it. It is extremely cumbersome. Yeah, it keeps failing.
Rumble does?
Yeah. It keeps failing all the time, and I have a yeah. So there's a bunch of people waiting for me. I'm thinking I'm live, and I'm not.
Really?
Yeah. This is just Rumble really sucks. It really does. It is just I don't know. Maybe it's me. I don't know, but I mean, I don't know how. I mean, I was really paying attention to this to make sure that I had it right before I went live, and it just does not work for me.
I wonder, it's interesting if you fill the washing machine and leave the lid up to store water. I wonder if I've never thought of doing that. If anyone out there is listening, if you want to comment on any channel and let me know if you've ever done that before, I'm interested. Make sure you charge all your devices, laptops, tablets, cameras, video cameras, and old cell phones can still be used for dialing 911. That's interesting. Charge external battery backups. Glow sticks also provide light for a few hours. You can stand them upright in a glass or jar to make a lantern. Wash all your trash cans, big and small, and fill them with water for flushing toilets. Line outdoor trash cans with trash bags. Fill them with water and store them in the garage. Add bleach to sterilize. Fill every tub and sink with water. Cover sinks with saran wrap to keep it from collecting dust. Fill the washing machine and leave the lid up to store water. Fill old empty water bottles. This is something the gentleman at the grocery store told me to do today, which I have always done. Fill old empty water bottles and other containers with water and keep them near sinks for washing hands. What I do is I actually put them in the freezer, because if you lose power, you have bottled water that's frozen or containers full of frozen water to keep things cool. And you can use it for drinking water when it starts on thawing. It keeps your food cold longer. Let's see.
Sorry for those of you who are on Rumble. I continue to have streaming problems with Rumble. They make it extremely difficult and cumbersome.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. We're having hurricane talk today.
Susan from South Carolina, how did you do through the Hurricane Helene? We are doing what we can here to make sure everything is working, so it's only taken 20 minutes to figure it all out.
Sorry about that, everybody.
Just unfortunately too many streams, and Rumble's just not a good enough alternative to YouTube. Unfortunately, they're just really falling down.
But we're glad you got it fixed, right?
Got it fixed, yeah.
So welcome, everybody. We're just talking about different tips and tricks you can do before hurricanes to help people out. We're also talking about different things that we've seen for the Milton hurricane on our way to Florida. We're following the news channels and kind of repeating what they're telling us. So we just kind of wanted to bring everybody together today to lend a little bit of extra support and to just kind of come together. So
and get people's opinions on what do they think is going to happen. What do they think is happening? Mm-hmm. We can get conspiratorial if you'd like.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
We are on Spaces, by the way, on X. So if you'd like to join the conversation, I put the link in the chat on both Rumble and YouTube. So you can follow that if you're a member of X. If not, I highly suggest you become a member or a user of X.
There's so much great information on X. Everyone is going to X now for their news updates. Mainstream media is pretty much going away, and X is taking over everything. I think yesterday when Elon was at the Butler Alley rally, 30 million people tuned into that.
Was it that many?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not surprising.
So, that's where I go now. I mean, I'm a newbie to X. I started, I want to say in June. And now I'm like addicted. Like that's where I go all the time, because one thing I found is that anything that's posted on X, like there's a delay that goes out even to independent journalists. There's a delay that they start reporting on things from X if they're not already putting it on X, like on other media outlets. So definitely I would start an account. Just so you know, my name is Bethany. My Twitter handle is @bcook, and I'm just a special guest today on Dennis's channel. He invited me, which his Twitter space is Dennis Hendrickson. And I don't know if you want to repeat your other channels you have. I just have the @bcook is my Twitter handle, and then I have a Substack for easy, affordable recipes, which is BethanyHendrickson.substack.com. So I don't know if you want to talk about yours real quick, and then we'll go into the hurricane stuff.
Yeah, we are streaming on YouTube, Rumble, and X. And like I said before, we are holding this is the second chat that I have done, or Twitter Spaces that I have done, or X Spaces. So I don't have a track record with that. So there are some people that, that's, I think, a very powerful thing is Spaces on X right now.
Totally.
Where people can kind of hold a town hall meeting, I guess you can, for the lack of a better word, a virtual town hall meeting where everybody kind of gets together and discusses things. And it's really taking off. It's extremely popular. Donald Trump's done a few of them. Elon Musk has done several. Of of course, I mean, it's not a surprise that he's done several because he owns the platform. But I think now, really, X is one of those platforms that kind of takes over both YouTube and Rumble, because you can live stream like we're doing right now. Hopefully they'll make some changes to their live streaming to make it a little easier. Rumble's the worst when it comes to live streaming. YouTube is the absolute easiest. It is super simple, super easy on YouTube to live stream. The problem with the problem with YouTube now is the shadow banning. And if you say anything political at all, even something that's innocuous, they will silence you. You know, as you can see that I have 47,000 followers and I get virtually no interaction at all, or any traction, because I have been shadow banned. I was hoping that by going to Rumble that would change, and unfortunately, and a lot of even very popular YouTubers and streamers have said that Rumble it's an alternative. It's nice. It's another place to go. But unfortunately, these companies, just for whatever reason, just haven't really done a very good job on copying YouTube and its ease of use and other things to really make it more attractive for streamers, and it's unfortunate.
So X, in my opinion, is the way to go.
They're the way to go, for sure.
And if you haven't been on a space before, because most people have not, once you start seeing spaces and you start seeing the people you can actually connect with, it's mind-boggling. Like, it literally gives you a voice. If you have somebody that's hosting a space and you want to speak, you can actually request to be a speaker. It's not that you'd be selected right away, but you'd be surprised. Sometimes they will select you right away. So it's a great opportunity for everybody to get their voice out there. So I highly recommend, if you want free speech and you want to be heard and you want to be a part of something bigger than yourself where you aren't being shadow banned, go to X.
And a lot of people are getting their political news from there now.
Yep.
Even journalists, independent journalists that aren't part of the mainstream media that lie about everything.
Yep.
All that stuff is there. And the spaces, if you want to get into something and voice your opinion, you don't have to show your face. I mean, because I know it's difficult for a lot of people to want to be kind of put themselves out there, but spaces is one of those things where you don't necessarily have to, show your show your face and all that. You can use a kind of an anonymous account if you want to do that.
Or you can create an avatar. They have that to walk you through an avatar, and that's a really good point, Dennis, because when I started mine, I was fearful of that because I do comment a lot on political things and join a lot of spaces. And so my cat that is one of my buddies, I decided to use his face as my picture. So when you go to my handle at bcook, you'll literally see my cat. So just a tip for everybody. It's a really good point.
All right. We fluctuate a little bit here on YouTube. We have Susan Fit 47 from South Carolina. We'll see if things get any better on YouTube. We have a few on Rumble. It's amazing how it fluctuates, but I think on a Sunday in the middle of the afternoon, people are probably doing a lot of other things.
Yeah.
For me, I guess I just want to sit here and kind of just panic.
No, there's no point in panicking. It's hard not to do, though, because I've had a knot in my stomach all day, and it started really yesterday. Actually, last night when we started seeing things moving in more of our direction. So I agree with you. Like, you don't want to, but you can't help it. Like, you get this knot in your stomach.
Yeah. I mean, it's a stress level that, quite honestly, it's old now.
Yeah.
And I guess one of the things I won't get into it now until if there's more people, and if anyone that is watching wants to get into discussing it, is it's getting to the point where it makes, first of all, if you want to get into the conspiracy theory, I find it very odd that we've had Helene and then Milton so incredibly close together,
Mm-hmm.
and seemingly aimed in the same direction. And then there's, when I put the title on at least the one, I think on all of the platforms, there's another one after Milton potentially.
Yeah, there is.
So I mean, we were talking about this. I've never seen that before. Even with Charlie 2004, we had hurricanes one year after another, but we never had hurricanes like this. And this is very strange. And we talk about weather manipulation, and weather manipulation exists. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's not made up. It's not crazy talk. That actually exists.
It's actually a thing.
It is a thing. So it just makes you wonder, so close to an election, they could definitely stop them if they wanted to. They have the technology to do that. There's patents out there that there is a technology out there to stop them, and they decided not to do it. Steering wise and creation wise, I don't know, but
how would they stop it? Like there's some kind of a machine?
Similar to the cloud seeding technology.
Oh, okay.
Where they would drop something in it and kind of like when they talk about I don't know exactly how, but when they talk about like the dry air and the wind shear.
Okay.
That stuff, and that's what they're hoping for with this hurricane. I think you were talking about it earlier, where at the last minute before landfall, they're hoping that the wind shear and the dry air weakens it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're super fucked.
Yeah, I've heard a few people say that. But then they said, but don't get too excited and don't say weakened, because, I mean, it just depends on what you read, because, and you and I were talking about this, that one reference I found early this morning was talking about it has a potential to go to like a Cat 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kept seeing 2, 2, 2, and then 3. And so, yeah, it just depends on what you read, where you read it. And I mean,
and that's the thing that adds to the frustration.
Yeah, totally.
Is that, okay, do I prepare? And then depending on the category, you have to figure out, okay, well, what's your preparation level going to be?
Mm-hmm.
So we've been through these enough where you know that a certain category is going to be, okay, I'm going to put up shutters, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then a certain category, you're like, it's not going to be that big of a deal.
One of the biggest things that stresses me out, honestly, and I think partly because I have like a food channel, is because I'm always thinking about recipes, like obsessively. But I'm always freaked out about water. Do I have enough water? And do I have enough food? And I have to keep reminding myself that you literally can survive several weeks without food.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to have water. So I start going down this whole, like, I mean, I was in the grocery store this morning and I was like, what the hell do you even buy for the hurricane? Like, if we do lose power, what do you even buy? And so I'm like, okay, beef jerky. You know what? I've never thought about buying beef jerky. So I bought a ton of beef jerky, and we have plenty of water and things like that. I'm interested to know if anyone else is going through this or has gone through hurricanes. What do they buy to prepare for food? Like, other than ho-hos and Twinkies, and everybody makes a joke after the storm about they went through their hurricane food before the hurricane because they bought a bunch of junk food. I mean, I buy bananas, apples, oranges, things like that. What does everyone else buy? I'm really interested to know.
Yeah.
Those are the two things that stress me out: water, food.
And what's really popular is those MRE meal deal things.
Yeah. Yeah, and I figure, you know what? If I buy too many things that will last till like 2025, we're definitely going to use them. But I really like the tips that I found that might help people, like changing your bed sheets, washing them all before the hurricane comes, because that way you don't have to worry about dirty sheets and how long you'll be able to actually do a load of laundry. Making sure that everything's clean, odor free, that you take out all your garbage, make sure that your trash is picked up if you can for garbage day. Don't leave anything in there. Make sure you have cash on hand. That's a big one. Stock up on your pet food supplies. Fill up your bowls of water for your pets. Refill any medications. Fill up your propane tanks. You can heat soup cans, boil water, make coffee and other stuff besides just grilling meat. Get an extra if possible. This is kind of obvious, but gather all candles, flashlights, lighters, matches, batteries, and other items and keep them accessible. Get Clorox wipes for cleaning surfaces.
Now, if we had a government that cared about its own citizens, we wouldn't have to worry about all this, because everything would be hurricane hardened, everything would be structured correctly, rebuilt correctly in order to handle all of this. But instead, like our electrical infrastructure, how many people lose their power in today's day and age?
Oh, I know, it's ridiculous.
I don't understand how our electrical grid across our entire country is the way it is. I mean, our neighborhood, watch, I say this now, we'll probably end up losing power, but
yeah, don't jinx it.
But when you bury the electrical lines, you have less of an issue of the trees taking them down. But instead, and I discussed this last night. Was it last night or Friday? Friday night.
I don't know. It feels like a big blur these last couple days.
Everything runs together. But here we are spending billions of dollars on migrants. $640 million. And I know it's more than that. It's got to be in the billion range. And FEMA is now out of money. Alejandro Mayorkas has admitted as such in his own words. It's not a conspiracy. It's not, somebody's opinion or made up. So not only are we out of money because of the migration invasion, but then on top of that, all of the billions of dollars that have been sent to foreign countries' wars. So now what happens is, and this is what stresses me out even more and angers me even more, and it should anger everybody else, is that we're spending these billions of dollars on people who are not here in this country. And now when a hurricane like this comes in, everybody's on their own. Now you can get into the discussion of whether or not you should build on barrier islands. I don't think that you should. I don't think we ever should have built on these barrier islands. They're barrier islands for a reason. But when you have greedy developers who choose to make money and they're able to convince the politicians, obviously with money, in order to develop on barrier islands, this is what you get. But barring all of that, the fact that you have people in North Carolina going through what they're not on the coast. So it's inexcusable what's going on. There should be money given to people to hurricane harden their property.
I agree.
Money should be given to the American people to say, okay, we need to build harder infrastructure. You know, we're going to give you guys, you know, homeowners, we're going to give you a stipend to rebuild the home or upgrade your home, whatever it is, in order to be able to handle mudslides, to be able to handle hurricane force winds, to be able to handle earthquakes, wildfires, whatever it is.
You know what's crazy to me? I don't feel like I've ever heard the word mudslide and hurricane in the same sentence until what happened in North Carolina.
I'm shocked at what's happened. How much mudslides in North Carolina?
No, have you ever heard mudslides in a hurricane before?
No.
I haven't.
No, I haven't.
In the 23 years we've lived here, I've never heard anybody talk about mudslides from a hurricane. That's what this whole thing is bizarre.
Marianne, if you can remember all the comments that you had wrote and you want to write them again, subscribe to my Rumble channel and post them there on those, because the videos that I don't know if all the videos that I have on YouTube currently are on Rumble. Go to either Odyssey or BitChute. Though every single YouTube video live or uploaded to YouTube is on there, and post those comments there. And then when I get a chance, I can take those and I'll post them on the YouTube channel. And also, I don't know when you came in, but on X, if you follow us on X, or follow me on X, Dennis Hendrickson. So it's x.com /Den, DEN Hendrickson. We are doing we're live there too, so you can make the comment there on my X channel. And also, if you want to talk as well and give your opinion, you can go into our space. We're running a space right now, and you can go in that space and talk and be part of it's rumble.com /Dennis Hendrickson. So it's just rumble.com /Dennis Hendrickson. And I was just complaining about Rumble. I mean, there's good and bad on all these different platforms. Rumble really sucks on their live streaming. So, and they used to sync with YouTube, but YouTube, I guess, deprecated the syncing function with Rumble because, of course, it's a competitor. And what does Google do? Google does everything they possibly can to stifle competition because they're a corrupt communist country. So they stop that syncing. But for whatever reason, I guess because they don't see a threat with Odyssey and BitChute, they haven't deprecated that. Yeah, country was 80% with power. Some people just got their power back. I'm not a member of Twitter. Do you have some conspiratorial thoughts about our weather? Geomanipulation going on, in my opinion. Yeah, I think so too. There's definitely some manipulation that's going on, and we were stating before that there are patents out there. If you Google, there's Google patents. If you go out there, there is technology that has been submitted as patent for steering hurricanes. I mean, it's not really in dispute. It's that the cloud seeding is out there. I mentioned this on Friday.
Yep.
You can literally create in Dubai a rainstorm. It is done. Cloud seeding is real. So weather manipulation exists. It's not a conspiracy theory. It is absolutely 100% real.
You know what's really funny to me? I've always wanted to say this, and I'll say it today. I love how everything is a conspiracy theory. when it's against the narrative. Have you noticed that?
Well,
It's always called a conspiracy theory.
You know why that is? That's a defense mechanism by communists.
Right.
So communists in their playbook say, if anyone ever says communist, you need to call them a conspiracy theorist, and you need to make fun of them and say that communism doesn't exist, because we don't want them to know that that's what we are. We call ourselves progressives, and they say this in the playbook. They say that we are progressives, but in reality, we are communists. So we view as communism as moving forward, hence the word progressive, and progressive doesn't sound threatening, because everybody knows what a communist is. Communist is a bad person. Communism is a bad ideology. They think for whatever reason they can continue to make communism work. It never has worked, but they are trying to do that now, and they hide by saying that when everybody says something about it, that it's a conspiracy theory.
Didn't the alphabet people make up the word conspiracy? Didn't that come from the CIA?
Yeah.
I
think it did come from them, yeah.
Didn't they create that word? No, I just think it's so funny, because it's like, that's like the left's talking point is anything that comes out from anything, hurricanes or otherwise, creating the weather patterns, it's all conspiracy. I'm so tired of hearing that, because it's basically, it's a telltale sign when someone says it's a conspiracy theory that you're telling the truth now. Yeah. And everyone knows that. Mm-hmm. They didn't know this a year ago, but everyone, unless you're living under a rock, here's the term conspiracy theory. Chances are it's probably true. I just love how the left, they use that as ammo against everybody. Cracks me up. Well, I just read something good on Twitter. Apparently, and this is some random person, they just found 200 people in Candler, North Carolina, in a church 6 days with no communication, all alive. Thank you, Jesus. Keep praying. So that's good news.
Yeah, and I think everything that's going on in North Carolina is pretty interesting. I posted a video on YouTube yesterday about, there's a guy on the ground, and he's a security guy who is going out and finding patients for a dialysis company. And he said that he saw at the time, didn't see any military, didn't see any news outlets, and that there people who are doing private rescues are being arrested. And there's a lot of stories about this stuff, about people who are doing private rescues with private helicopters that are being arrested. Mm-hmm. Now, I did talk to somebody who has a place in North Carolina in that area, and he said that, he's not sure about his cabin. All the people, I guess, in the local area are all accounted for. He brought up an interesting point that, a lot of the air rescues and supplies and everything really need to be coordinated by the military or National Guard. Because if you have all these helicopters, private helicopters flying around, then you're going to have an issue, because there's just so many of them that you have a very crowded airspace. And I thought that was a really good point. I think you have to see that other side of it. But then at the same time, when this other guy is on the ground and he says he sees no military, and it's taking that long for people to get out there, then that's a problem. And that's why a lot of these people are doing this stuff on their own. There are kids that have lost their parents. They don't know where their parents are. Which I just can't even imagine.
I know. In a lot of the towns, I think in Butler, not Butler, I'm sorry. One of the towns, they just took it upon themselves to just everybody get together, groups of people, to just go looking for people. It's horrible.
And so I think the death toll is going to be much higher than anyone can imagine.
Yeah. So sad.
It's really horrible.
Breaks my heart.
But that's what makes what's going on there now, what happened with Helene in Florida and North Carolina and now Milton.
Mm-hmm. That could be us.
This is really, this is really bad.
It's really bad.
And the current administration that we have in here, you cannot rely on. And I blame those who voted for the current administration for the devastation that we're seeing right now. Because at the very least, the people that are in charge are incompetent. It almost seems as if they're going out of their way to kill their own citizens. And maybe they are, but the incompetence is just unbelievable. And here we have a potential, I'm not so sure what Milton's going to be. I certainly hope it's not a 5, but you could very well get up to that. Yeah. And if that's the case, just shut it down.
Yeah, the way people have been completely abandoned by the government it's really criminal. And the amount of reports from people on X that are saying they're being told that they can get $750 by submitting an application when they don't even have power.
Yeah.
Their home got wiped out. What are they supposed to do? I remember seeing one video. This guy, he and his family lost their home, so they went to a hotel room. They found a hotel, and he's like, okay, so I go online to apply for $750, and my application's denied.
Yeah, one guy
what is
said
that all about?
They were denied because they had homeowners insurance. So I'm like, I don't understand what does that have to do with anything?
And $750, $750 will pay what, your grocery bill?
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it. But this is what I'm talking about. So FEMA is, according to Alejandro Mayorkas, the Democrat communist head of Department of Homeland Security, has said that FEMA is broke. There is no more money.
Yep. There
is no more money because all of the money, and he, again, admitted by him, okay, this isn't somebody, they're making this up. It's all of this money went to the illegal migration invasion.
Yep.
To facilitate it. And so you have a number of, I played this on Friday where there is a woman who was talking about how these EBT cards that these immigrants are getting, illegal immigrants are getting, have, I guess, 2 sets of accounts. One account for food, one account for something else, I guess, whatever, any other just, spending. And they had $30,000 for food and $20,000 for something else. So you're talking 5 figures that these illegals are getting. New York City, Nick Shirley, the guy that you've been watching, I've been watching him for a while.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah, he's
awesome.
If any of you on search Nick Shirley is on YouTube. I don't know if he's on Rumble. And I'm shocked that he's still on YouTube because of the stuff that he does. But one of the videos that he did, he was in New York City. He's bilingual. And he said, he asked a couple of these migrants, how are you getting paid? Or how, are you having to pay for any of your lodging or whatever? And they're like, no, we're in this hotel. They have maids that clean their hotel rooms for them.
Oh, they do turn down services.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then their kids get they're like, well, how do you get medical care? Oh, well, we're on Medicare and Medicaid.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
So I don't get Medicare and Medicaid.
No. Look what we're going
through. But
through.
an illegal immigrant, ladies and gentlemen, can get Medicare and Medicaid. And guess who's paying for that?
Yeah, we are.
So if you're paying $1,200 a month for health insurance and then you have a deductible of tens of thousands of dollars, screw you.
Yep.
Deal with it.
Well, and don't get me started. I mean, we've got the illegal invasion going on where a lot of our taxpayer money is going. And then on top of that, we also have the money we're now sending to Lebanon, the money that we've already sent to Ukraine, and now we've sent money to Israel as well.
Yeah.
So at what point as Americans do we go, enough is enough? Like, we're not being taken care of. Everyone else is, and we are not. And this hurricane situation, Marlene, is a perfect example of that. And now Milton's on the way. So, I mean, if you aren't paying attention, now's the time to pay attention. If you weren't paying attention before. So, when you go to vote, think very, very carefully of who you're going to vote for, because it's only going to get worse from here.
And there's people that are out there. I mean, even in our own neighborhood, that have signs up for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, who are both known communists and are completely beyond incompetent. And they're going to vote for those two because they hate Donald Trump. That's the only reason why. They've been brainwashed by the media to hate Donald Trump. But meanwhile, look at the situations that we're in. Susan Powers, who was in Ukraine talking about how because of America, and when she means because of America, because of taxpayers, American taxpayers, that now, let me see if I can find it and see. I'll try and play it. This is the most tone deaf, and Antony Blinken talking about, I think that's what you were just talking about, is the money we gave to Lebanon. This is absolutely incredible.
Did you know how much money we gave to illegal immigration?
Well, they say 640.
Okay.
But it's way more than that. Because J.J. Carroll, who's a guy he was a prior Border Patrol agent, and he does a lot of investigative reports on all this stuff. He said that there was just one tranche of money for a 3-month period was in the,
it's like 650 million.
600 million or something. So it's in the billions. It's 640 million.
Yeah.
Might be just from FEMA's coffers.
Now, is it true that FEMA has two different budgets, one for migrant resettlement and one for disaster relief? Because apparently the Democrats are claiming FEMA has those two budgets.
Maybe that's the case. If that's the case, then what should I doubt that? I'm sure that's BS. Mm-hmm. Then Alejandro Mayorkas should have stated it that way, and he didn't. He said, we're not going to have enough money through this if we have another hurricane. Right.
That's true.
But let me play this, because this will piss you off. So this is Samantha Power, okay, USAID. And she posted this on October 4th. Okay? Mm-hmm. And to give background, because I don't know if I can actually, I think I could show it.
And when you're done showing that, are there any questions in the chat or comments?
Yep, here it is. Think of your questions while I play this.
I'm here in an energy substation in the western region of Ukraine. This substation provides enough power for around 500,000 residents of this area. I'm standing in front of an auto transformer that used to provide power, but that Putin's forces destroyed back in 2022. As we head into winter, knowing that Putin is intent on attacking critical infrastructure, USAID is doubling our investments in replacing auto transformers that have been damaged or destroyed, and in providing protection to the energy infrastructure that remains. Thanks to the support of the American people, USAID is working with Ukrainians to keep the lights on and the heat going this winter.
Wow. Thank you. God, I'm so excited. That is thanks, Sam. Meanwhile, Americans continue to suffer, but it's most important that and when you do a video like that, this is what I'm talking about. These people are not only evil, but they're beyond incompetent. And so, and here we are. Now, I've been talking about this before Milton has made landfall, but I can tell you right now that when Milton makes landfall,
we're screwed.
We do not count on the government for anything.
Nope.
In fact, they're going to laugh when it happens. And then you know what you're going to see? You're going to see a bunch of jerk-off TikTokers. A bunch of libtards go online and go, see what happened? God wanted that to happen because they're MAGA people.
You know what I find really interesting too? I read this somewhere and I was like, it didn't dawn on me until somebody said it. Where are all the charity benefits helping people that have been affected by Helene? And it's not just North Carolina. There are other states involved. Where are the charity benefits that these stupid celebrities used to do to help people? The only person that I've seen so far is Dolly Parton. She donated, I believe it was $1 million to help relief funds. But you haven't heard anything, not a peep, from anyone else donating any of their gobs and gobs of money to help the relief fund.
No, but I mean, in Maui, you remember what happened there? You had the
Same
Rock
thing.
and Oprah.
Yeah.
They did something that
Oprah
pissed
and
off
the
a
Rock.
bunch of people. Oh, I know what it was. They were asking a bunch of people to donate. And it's like, you both are billionaires.
I know. Well, I'm just saying, I think it's really insane that I haven't heard anything. Has anybody else heard anything that the celebrities are helping relief at all? Like usually they'll have concerts by now. I haven't heard a peep. So that's interesting. I'm reading, I don't know if any of you follow the Hodge twins. They're also really good on X. So the leader of Homeland Security is shopping for expensive clothes, and there's a picture of him carrying a shopping bag. It looks like in a department store, while Americans are dying in the mountains of North Carolina.
Who is this?
The Hodge twins.
And who were they?
On X.
Who were they talking about?
It looks like Mayorkas.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. Can you look at the picture? Because I can't see his face. I believe that's him.
Yeah, damn right it is.
It is? Okay. So there you go.
Wow. Now the other thing is you don't know if it's real or not, because it could be AI.
I wonder if that's supposed to be
I
a
wouldn't
joke.
put it past.
That could be a joke. You're right.
But it's not. It's not a surprise.
It's not surprising if it is
at all.
real.
And here.
I wonder if it is real.
But here's Lindsey Graham. I played this on Friday. Here's Lindsey Graham on Hannity talking about what was more important. What was more important, and I think I misspoke. I said he was a senator of North Carolina. It's actually South Carolina. How he really, his main concern was Ukraine. But hear him say it.
You can thank Donald Trump and Elon Musk for that. You know, I've been going all over South Carolina like most people. I hadn't slept much. But look what's going on in Israel. Our friends in Israel are surrounded by people that want to kill them, destroy them, a second Holocaust in the making.
Sorry, not
and
Ukraine.
Biden says be proportional. What is the proportional response to people who want to kill you and your family?
gosh.
They're running out of ammunition in Israel. We have to help our friends to keep the war over there from coming here.
He keeps saying that. We have to help our friends to keep the war over there from coming over here. He said that about Russia and Ukraine. Now he's saying it about Israel.
By the way, that Mayorkas department store picture, that is cited in the Hodge twins, that's true.
Really?
Yeah, it's from somebody else that said that's the second time they've seen him in that department store.
That's the second time?
That they've seen him like during a situation going on that's important.
Maybe
obviously he's not working around the clock.
He needs shopping therapy.
But you should go to their page because they post the guy that shared the picture. And Sid Mashburn, I guess, is where the place was. How ridiculous. That just pisses me off even more.
But, yeah, I don't know how much more people need to... But see, that stuff, if that were Donald Trump, if that were Donald Trump Jr., if that were Ivanka Trump, if that was anybody on the right at all...
It would be
and I shouldn't even say the right, because people like Lindsey Graham are right.
Yeah.
But Lindsey Graham, I guarantee you, first of all, he's a closeted homo. On top of that, I guarantee you he is compromised. Mm-hmm. He is 100,000% compromised. You don't talk like that about Israel unless somebody has something on you. And there's no doubt in my mind. I mean, he is no different than Liz Cheney. He's no different than Adam Kinzinger. He is a traitor to the country.
Yeah, and
people
you're
keep
right.
voting for him.
You brought up a really good point, though, and you and I've talked about this before, and I've heard countless other people that are like-minded talk about this. It has nothing to do with the left and the right anymore.
No, it's a uniparty.
Good and bad. It's like good and bad. It's what side of the country are you on? Like, either you're an American or you're not. That's the way I see it.
And the thing is, I didn't really go into this all that much last time, and I know we're off topic because we were talking about Milton the hurricane, but
it's nice to talk about these other things too, because they all come into play with that.
Yeah, because we're gonna feel the effects of the government that we currently have after Milton makes landfall. Because we already have what's going on in North Carolina as a problem. We already have what's going on in Florida along the Gulf Coast, which is going to get hit again. We're all going to be severely affected. And by the way, when I do bring up the fact that North Carolina, I think it's important, very important to mention that the slow response, in my opinion, by the federal government is not only incompetence, but it's also on purpose, because the longer they take to get infrastructure back in order and everything back going again and the power and everything like that, the less of a likelihood of those people are able to vote.
Yes, we forgot to talk about that.
And so when those people are just kind of in disarray, the last thing that they're thinking about is going out. I mean, maybe that might change.
Yeah.
That they'll decide at that point, hey, I need to make sure. But then the areas where their precincts, wherever they would go to vote, if they're in the area that's devastated, what do you do? Like, how does that work? And so the longer the federal government can drag that out, the more difficult it's going to be for those people to be able to do anything.
Well, in that area, and I don't know why I have such a brain fart.
You talking about Asheville?
Thank you, Asheville, because Trump just had the Butler rally. That's why I have Butler in my head. But Asheville, that area, didn't we hear that a very high percentage of that area near that town were Republican or conservative?
In that area,
isn't that
actually Asheville's not
Asheville, but like in that area.
Is it Chimney Creek? Not Chimney Creek. Somebody help me out in the chat with the name of the.
It's hard to remember all the different towns and everything. I'm struggling right now. But I just remember someone saying that it's
Chimney Rock, I think it is.
in that area.
So I think it's Chimney Rock. Somebody tell me if I'm right or wrong. But Chimney Rock is also the area that this person I spoke to was saying that he's familiar with that area. I don't know if that's where his cabin was or not, but said that that he brought up the lithium thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't know. You know, maybe there is. I mean, you brought up the fact that BlackRock had signed a contract or something. I don't know if it's Chimney Rock or not. If that was the area. But Asheville, no. Asheville is actually, somebody brought up the voting. Now, there are Republicans in Asheville. So, but it was like a 60, maybe 70-30, 60-40.
I thought I heard 80%.
No, not from what this guy put up.
Okay.
It was closer to a 60-40, maybe real close to 70-30. Liberal over Democrat. But North Carolina overall is, it's a swing state.
Right.
So it's an important state. The governor is a Democrat. Places like Charlotte, which I'm embarrassed to say.
And Charlotte used to be red, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I was watching an interview and they said that they used to be red.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah. I mean, North Carolina, it was really a red state, but now.
Now it's swing.
It's just not good.
Which kind of leads us to our point that we find it very ironic that these hurricanes are going to different areas that, like, one's a swing state, now one's a red state.
I can tell you that. So you and I were talking about this the other day. Hillsborough County is pretty blue, actually really blue. Hillsborough County, and you can tell, you could just tell between the different counties how they're run, how they operate. Hillsborough County is blue and sucks. Sarasota County is more red, but like downtown Sarasota is, of course, run blue, and it's so funny when you go in there, you see how they have all the bike lanes and everything. They just totally libtarded the city out. It's embarrassing. And so the farther south you go, the more I mean, virtually the entire state is red, except for, I would say, Tallahassee, Hillsborough County. Pinellas County is probably more red than blue, but turning. And then you have the counties on the other side. Broward, I think it is blue. So over by like the Fort Lauderdale area, which is kind of not surprising. So Florida's not really a swing state, I don't think, at all, because it's mostly red.
Yeah,
but it's not. It's also
red.
not a surprise. They're slinging hurricanes at it like crazy.
Right. That was kind of my point.
Yeah.
And I know that does sound far-fetched, but
I'm not.
Everything is
at this point now. I mean, the way
everything's so
I look at
weird
it,
right now. I hate the word weird. Sorry. Everything's just so bizarre, bizarro world. It's like.
Yeah, Marianne says unbelievable demonic energy. I mean, it is. It's just very demonic. I mean, that's kind of like.
Yeah, it's like Satan's
what we're
ruling
living
the world.
in now is a demonic world. I mean, everything is.
And look at all the libtards. They look demonic. It's like video after video after video. They all look like cray.
So, I don't know.
But let's talk a little bit about the lithium thing.
Yeah.
So, what does anybody know what we're talking about when we say that in North Carolina? Have you heard the word on the street about the mountains being full of lithium, I guess, and worth a ton of money? Have we gotten any more comments or anything?
Yeah. Susan Fitt said that Dolly Parton donated some money. So she heard that. You had mentioned that earlier.
Yeah. The $1 million. I love Dolly.
Marianne Knox, it's scary because I'm 70, disabled, elderly, and totally disavowed by my children, my adult children, extended family. I have no one, not one person. Is that because of your politics, I'm guessing? Because, yeah, I have kind of the same... I don't have the same issue, but, like, it's sort of opposite in a way, where I'm frustrated with a family member of mine who is liberal, hates Trump, and every time you have a conversation and prove that she's wrong about it, you just can't get it through their head. And it's extremely frustrating because, and I don't know if you were on the live stream when I talked about it on Fridays. These people, because they're not paying attention to what's going on, and they watch CNN, MSNBC, and I'll play this again. It's because it's definitely worth playing again. MSNBC, a producer, admitted that they're doing all they can to help the Harris campaign. On top of all of that, they call their viewers basically dumb. And admitted that they've dumbed down their audience over time. And so when I bring that up, CNN's the same thing. I mean, if you asked a producer undercover, they'd say the same thing. Then the argument from somebody from the left that watches them, oh, well, you watch Fox News.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's like immediately their comeback.
That's immediately what they say. They say that not because they know that you watch Fox News. CNN and MSNBC tells you that.
Yep, they're brainwashed.
When you watch these broadcasts, they say, well, these people on Fox News, they're going to tell you that, and it's like, okay, well, so then they think that that because CNN and MSNBC are telling me that the opposite is watching Fox News, that's the case, that's the truth. And that's what this producer is saying, essentially, is that they've been so dumbed down that, God forbid, they talk about the truth, the people get angry at them. Let me play this real quick.
So do you feel like MSNBC is doing enough to help the Harris campaign?
I mean, they're doing all they can.
Meet Basil Hamden, a writer and producer for MSNBC's weekend show, Hyman. Basil also reveals that, quote, what her message of the day is their MSNBC's message of the day.
What have they done to help the Harris campaign?
Amplify her message. What her message of the day is their message of the day.
Hamden revealed that MSNBC is the Democratic Party's mouthpiece and is doing anything to get Kamala elected. Hamden says this news network is indistinguishable from the Democratic Party.
So is MSNBC just like doing whatever it takes to get Kamala elected?
Yes. It hammers home the point that I'm making, that this news network is indistinguishable from the party.
Are they just the Democratic Party's mouthpiece?
Exactly.
MSNBC is the Democratic Party's mouthpiece.
Yes. Yeah.
Basil calls MSNBC viewers brainwashed and states that MSNBC made their viewers dumber over the years.
Viewers get mad at the guests or the host if the host were to criticize Democrats.
Exactly.
They've made their viewers dumber over the years. I think brainwashing and dumbing down,
It's bad.
aggressive,
I get it.
helps Trump.
When she's delivering these messages now, I think she keeps getting better.
Kamala Harris is telling the truth. The hate campaign against Kamala Harris has begun. They purposefully pronounce her name wrong.
But as a black woman, the product of a mixed marriage, she's an inspiration.
I don't know, Nicole, vote for her or don't vote for her, but isn't it great to just have a positive conversation right now?
So isn't that crazy?
Is that
That's James O'Keefe's.
Is it Keefe?
Yeah.
Okay.
So here you have MSNBC. So when you talk about Marianne, you're called crazy by your family, and show them this. Show them how an undercover journalist, without having to try, had an MSNBC producer say that they've dumbed down their audience, lied to their audience outright, and know that the audience will get pissed off at them if they criticize the Democrats. I mean, this is how they run their operation. They run their networks that way. And it's real simple. The argument's real simple with these liberals. It's like, I don't watch Fox News. I get my information from other people. This is why I do what I do, because of the family member that I have. You know, I don't get paid. You know, you can send a super chat, superchatme.com, to support our work. But we don't get paid millions of dollars like MSNBC. Think about it. But independent journalists, the ones who go out and look at this, you know, the information, something that James O'Keefe does, or the Hodge twins figure out, or Steven Crowder. You know, I don't trust the people, Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was a never Trumper. Glenn Beck was a never Trumper. You know, all of a sudden now it's politically expedient for them to be a Trump supporter. Ben Shapiro, you know, all these people are raking in tens of millions of dollars every year. But it's the independent ones that go out. They're on the ground, like Savannah Hernandez, even though she works for Turning Point USA, which is owned by Charlie Kirk. You know, even now the right side people now are pretty much compromised, and it's all about money for them. But the point is that you say to these family members, are like, here it is right in front of your face that you're being lied to, and then they think you're stupid. The people that you watch, that you get your news from, call you dumb. And so who's the crazy one now? And, you know, that it can't get much more simple than that. And like I said on Friday, Trump, people, they'll say Trump's a rapist. No, he's not. He didn't rape anybody. It was a he said, she said case. There was no evidence that anything happened. She said it happened. He said that she lied, and then she sued him for defamation. Now he has to pay a bunch of money. All of these cases are purely prosecutorial misconduct beyond any argument at all. And it simply boils down to one thing: timing. Timing, that's it. These cases were all brought up because he announced that he was going to be running for president in 2024. That's the only reason they came up.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, I've been saying this for years and years, and I just keep feeling like I'm saying the same thing over and over again. Until something is done with the mainstream media, people will remain, they won't be awake. So, and the people that you're referring to are like your family member, my family member, like our friends, you know, their parents, like it just goes on and on and on and on. And I think that, you know, there are certain people that don't want to look out of the scope of what they've always known to do, which is sit down at 5 o'clock every evening and watch the 5 o'clock news, and wake up in the morning and watch the 8 o'clock news. And that's how they get their news. They don't go on YouTube. They don't go researching different independent journalists or who those independent journalists are. They do nothing. They grew up that way, and they like their bubble, and they believe it's real. And unfortunately, it's going to come, like, it's going to affect them at some point, because there is so much evil in the world that you can't run away from it. So, you know, it's sad because you feel like you're constantly having the same conversation, and then you're made to look crazy, and everybody's kind of getting tired of that conversation. So what do? You tend to just shut down, and you don't have those conversations anymore with the people that you love, because they're not willing to be open about it. And that's a sad part. But it really, in my opinion, it all stems from mainstream media. They are the virus.
And it gets a lot deeper than that too. I mean, it's I was in a space with a group of people who, I won't get into it, but I essentially said that AIPAC was an organization that obviously supports Israel. That's what it does, and they are in control of all of our politicians. And of course, I got ripped apart in a space with I don't know how many people, 200, 300 people in there. And there's no argument to it. I mean, every single one of our politicians, Democrat and Republican, have an AIPAC rep,
which I think is really way beyond the scope of a lot of people's comprehension.
Well, and so the thing is that I guess the point I'm trying to make, because I won't get into that, is that they all call me crazy. And yet at the same time, that you're not, because Thomas Massie, who's probably the only senator that doesn't have one, admitted as such. And then on top of that, if you don't, they could say, well, they don't believe Thomas Massie because Thomas Massie said it. If you go on X, Twitter, and I know some of you are not on it, but I encourage you to get on it, create an account on X and Twitter, or X. I call it X and Twitter. I don't know why I do that, but go on X and you'll literally see AIPAC bragging about how much money they give to every single politician running for senator or House of Representatives.
When do you think you'll have a specific show about that? Because that's a whole nother topic that requires like a deep dive.
Yeah, no. At some point, I'll probably talk about that once all this hurricane stuff goes by.
So let's plan on doing that like either next week or the week after. So stay tuned, everybody, for that discussion.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. And it's obviously it's a touchy subject, because if you once again you also get called, and Marianne, I'm I guess kind of trying to tell you what
it's good information.
What ends up happening with people on the left, because the people on the left are they're so brainwashed that it's really difficult to get them to. I mean, they're going to call you crazy, because when they see something on TV, mm-hmm. What's sad about these types of people is they believe that the stuff that they see on TV is true. And then you bang your head against the wall saying, no, it's not. I mean, here, I'm just laying it out for you. And common sense, you would think that common sense would dictate in these situations, that common sense would tell you. Donald Trump, when he announced that he was going to be running for president, all of a sudden was indicted.
Yeah.
And it's like, so that's not, that's not suspect in and of itself, just that alone, that all of a sudden he's indicted on all these charges. And then I won't go through each individual case.
But it's like charge after charge after charge after charge.
These charges are like...
So stupid.
Look, everybody can argue these charges. And then when you look at the prosecutors and you look at the judges... And again, I won't get into all of that. That's for the show.
Yeah, because we need to go back to the hurricane stuff.
Yeah. But when you go into all that type of stuff, it's so blatantly obvious what's going on.
When you're...
So again, but you're not going to see that on MSNBC. You're not going to see it on CNN. People aren't going to talk about that. In a lot of cases, you will not hear about AIPAC from Charlie Kirk. You will not hear about AIPAC from Ben Shapiro for sure, because he's Jewish. You won't hear about AIPAC from Glenn Beck, because Glenn Beck thinks the same thing that Lindsey Graham does.
I didn't even know what AIPAC was until 2 weeks ago when you explained it to me.
That's the thing. A lot of people don't know what AIPAC is, and then AIPAC will sit there and brag on paper.
But again, we'll go through that in like 2 weeks. I think we should probably go back to the hurricane stuff. Okay.
And then we can wrap it up, because we're already doing an hour and a half.
Oh, wow. Do we still have a lot of listeners?
Let's see. We got...
Because I'm fine to keep going.
I want to shout out to Susan Fitz, still with us. Really enjoyed the live. Thank you. It's so Marianne says it's sad. It's like my entire family and life was taken away from me because I am aware and awake.
Yep.
But you know
Believe
what?
me, we understand.
I mean, you have us.
You can talk to us anytime.
That we're here. I know it's not the same thing, but at least there are people that are aware and awake, that are paying attention to things. The Revolutionary War was fought by around 10% of the population. So think about what those people had to go through. You know, people who wanted to fight the British and tyranny and oppression was a very small group, and it usually is. And you can take solace, and said this on Friday, that the man with a 200 IQ is in our corner. Okay? So the smartest man in the world is paying attention. I'm not saying that we're the smartest people in the world, but we pretty much have everybody, the people who have common sense, the people who are aware of what's going on, the people who are awake, that the ones that can read through this stuff and understand what's going on.
You know what we should do? And we should have, like, maybe once a week, have a topic where people that are like-minded like us can just come to this place to comment about things like that.
Yeah, so
because
you can go in. Those
you
of
feel alone.
Yeah, all of you that are on YouTube, you can go in, Mary. You can go in and just comment on there what you want us to talk about. Yeah, we have more people that are coming on now.
We should do that because you know what? It's I'm really glad that Marianne
Knox, yeah.
Marianne, so it was really nice that you brought that up because that's a really huge piece of all of this that I talked to a lot of my friends about, that you do feel alone. You feel isolated and you feel even more isolated when you have gatherings or you're forced to be with people in your family that have such opposing viewpoints that aren't awake. And so it's kind of nice to have an outlet that you can come to and like listen to people that are like you, that it kind of, and for me, quite honestly, you know, thankfully I'm married to an amazing man that has the same viewpoints that I do. And I learn a lot from him, a lot. But you know, it's nice to have a group like that. So I think what we should do is do more of this, and then maybe have like a group chat once a week. But I encourage everybody, you know, to go to X on Spaces, because Spaces is a really easy place to go. And we're on Spaces. I mean, we're connected to Spaces. We're connected to Rumble, YouTube.
But I know it's probably
more convenient
it's
to go to
difficult for some people because even
Rumble.
Even what I was saying is like a lot of people do not want to be on camera, and in a lot of cases they don't want to talk either because it's uncomfortable. It's hard to do sometimes. So I understand that, but I definitely would encourage people to get on X because you're going to find a lot more
like-minded people.
Yeah, you're going to find a lot more like-minded people. You're definitely going to find a lot of people on the left that are nuts.
And you don't have to go on camera.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't even, to be honest with everybody, I don't even go, I don't even request to be a speaker. When you request to be a speaker on X, you don't show your face. I mean, you just show your avatar or whatever. Yeah. So it's just like your little avatar bubble like you would on any other platform. But you don't have to be a speaker. I've never been a speaker. What I normally do is if I have something burning to say, you can put it in the chat message. It's different though, to Dennis's point, if you prefer going on YouTube or Rumble, certainly we'll be using those platforms as well for these streams. They don't have live chat. That's the only problem. And I've tweeted that to Elon, and they've talked about it too. It wasn't my idea, but they've talked about it too, where, you know, live chat would be nice because you can literally put your comments in and then we can talk about it. It takes a little bit longer on X. You still have the ability, but it's not like an ongoing chat thing.
Marianne Knox was banned on X, she said.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? You probably could get back on again.
Yeah, I would say give it a try again.
Yeah.
Just create another account.
And if not, you can join us here. Yeah. Seriously, we're going to be here anyways. But I guess my point is, well, yeah, hopefully we'll still be here after the hurricane.
When I get blown away.
But I think what we should do, Dennis, is do this like once a week and talk about talk about issues. Like, I know you're already doing this, but I think talk about issues that people request in the chat and things like that they want us to talk about, so they don't feel all alone. I mean, bring up stuff that you guys are going through in your family, like different topics of discussion that you're finding. You know, you mentioned to your family member, and you know, they gave you a backlash. I mean, I deal with it all the time with my family. I'll say certain things and they laugh at me. But you're not alone, just so you know. Okay, so back.
She tried to get back on X, but it's not possible. So, all right.
All
Well,
right, no worries. We'll be here.
Yeah. So at least you can come on YouTube, Rumble, and the other platforms.
We'll be here.
But yeah, back to the hurricane. Let's see. Have we had any?
Well, the next update is at 5:00. I was just reading a little bit about how the storm is the eye of the storm here is a little bit more
Defined. Jeez. Did you just put... okay.
They're still kind of going back and forth with the landfall and things like that, but it looks like... You said the euro is the best thing to use, correct?
From what I understand, the euro is more accurate than the American.
So the euro back north closer to Tampa again with the latest run, and that was as of...
What time?
That was 47 minutes ago. And you know, the models seem to change. Is anybody in the chat going through the hurricane in Florida?
It hasn't really changed much.
Yeah, I don't think it's changed either.
Yeah, I guess it has shifted north again.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what happens at 5:00. That's when the updates come out. So.
Patricia, my family thinks I'm obnoxious and a nuisance. Just one friend to talk with.
Same, Patricia, same.
Yeah. Marianne's in New Hampshire, living in the mountains.
Oh, that's nice.
That's cool.
What's the weather like there?
I know it's definitely cooler up there.
I bet it feels great.
I hope they don't make the hurricane worse. I like Bethany's theory that somehow they're going to lessen the strength at the end.
Because we keep talking about it.
Because everybody's talking about it, but...
Can you explain something to me while we're on the topic of critical thinking and good versus evil? Why is it on X that... What's this whole... And I'm still kind of new to X myself. When you repost something somebody says and you get fact checked,
you're not being fact checked.
You're not being fact checked. The person that posted it is.
Right.
But how do they determine what's true and what's not? And I know that's a loaded question because that's kind of the point of us being called conspiracy theorists.
So how
and all
it works
this other
is,
stuff.
and I think you have to be approved to be somebody who writes in community notes, but it's a number of people that vote whether or not it's disinformation or not, and then they have to give a reason for it.
Really?
And then other people have to agree that the reason for it being that way is proper or not.
Really?
Yeah, so it's like a double sort of check kind of thing to...
That's hilarious. I always wondered how that worked because I just got fact checked on reposting something that somebody said that those earrings that Kamala wore during the debate were not microphones.
Well, I don't know whoever does it. I don't know how they know that. How do you know that?
Yeah.
See, the problem I have with the community notes is I'm not necessarily convinced that they're all that accurate, because how would someone know for sure that those earrings are not microphoned?
Because it was really, and I agree with you, because it was really interesting that someone, when it first came out, you know, everybody was saying, oh, her pearl earrings that they did close up of were potentially ear transmitters. And then somebody actually found them online, that they were an actual product. And
Now,
so they posted it.
It was a Kickstarter account from what I remember. So because it's a Kickstarter, if somebody, and I don't know if you read the community notes or not.
I'm trying to decipher because they're so long.
Okay, so if the community notes said that it was a Kickstarter account that they got them from, and that they have not been manufactured yet, then I would buy that. That those couldn't have been the earrings. However, those earrings could have been prototypes or whatever that haven't been sold yet, and she was using them because she knew the people who were inventing them, that were trying to get it on the Kickstarter to get going. Because what Kickstarter is it's like a crowdfunding site. So if you have an idea, remember the guys that I was telling you about with the jellyfish thing?
Yeah.
So if you have a product that you want to have crowdfunded in order to create it, essentially, you come up with a concept and you say, okay, I got these earrings, and that these earrings you can somebody can communicate to you with those earrings, but I haven't made it's a concept, I haven't made it yet, or I've made like one pair. I need money from all of you guys as investors in order for me to create it.
Yeah, that's not what these guys are saying. It's actually pissing me off even more, because they're saying that the Harris earrings were Tiffany, not audio transmitters.
Okay.
So she's wearing Tiffany, like she did with a $60,000 necklace, gold chain necklace from Tiffany's that she wore to the border the first time she went.
MFer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony, it is sad to see the devastation. Thanks. You're from Scotland. I want to go to Scotland.
Oh, me too.
But you guys are having your own problems, I'm sure, with the illegal migration and everything that's going on there, just like we are here in the United States. And that's a funny thing that, you know, when people talk about, and you get in these spaces on X, and when I talk about these spaces, is that you have a lot of these people that have these absolutely useless arguments about illegal immigration and how that it's a crisis at the border. It is a manufactured, created invasion by the UN, because it's not just the United States that's going through it. It's also the United Kingdom and Europe. Everybody is dealing with this in these white countries. And so that's what's happening. It's blatantly obvious what's going on. It is a created invasion in order to replace white people. That's what this is. I mean, it's not in dispute. It's not a thing where it's like, oh, you're conspiratorial, you're racist, you're this or that. That's what it is. That you can't argue it. It cannot be argued. The only argument they have is to say that you are racist, anti-Semitic, and everything else, because they want you to shut up about your own genocide. That's what this is. And so I know I can get off on a million different topics, but I know we got on here because of the hurricane. But probably another reason, I mean, if it definitely is a conspiracy that they're steering hurricanes into particular parts of the country. But don't you find it funny that it's particular parts of the country that are being affected by it right now?
Yeah, and that it could potentially affect the election.
Yeah.
So that's what made my antennas go off, was when they were talking about the swing state and how Trump could potentially lose because of this.
Yeah.
Some scary stuff. I'm just kind of flipping through some of the current events. I just heard music.
Subscriber. Watchdog.
I heard music in my ears. I think that the hurricane is a very scary situation because we're in Florida. That's where we live, and the things that scare me about it are the insurance rates scare me. So will the insurance go bankrupt where people aren't taken care of in Florida? That's a huge concern I have.
It's already a crisis. It's a crisis before this even happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Tony, you're better staying put. We have a serious problem here. Visited for 3 months and see pictures of these towns, which ain't here now. Unbelievable. Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. It's we got a real serious problem. And I've said this before. This bears repeating. This is really important to say. And I said this on a pretty big space on Thursday night, that we have been dealing with this. What's going on is very, very historic from a standpoint of the late 1800s up until now. And we had a Bolshevik revolution that ended very, very badly with millions of people dying. And that was really the first Red Scare that we had. And then we had the second one with Joseph McCarthy. And Joseph McCarthy was the only senator that we had in government that was willing to stand up against the communists. And we have a third, and that was the second Red Scare. The third, we need a third Red Scare. We need another senator. We need somebody to stand up. Maybe Matt Gaetz is that guy. I'm not sure. But we need somebody to call all of this for what it is. And what it is a communist. It's a new Bolshevik revolution. It's Bolshevism 2.0.
I don't think Matt Gaetz is going to say boo. He should have by now.
You would think, yeah. Well, one of the things he's done now, which I don't understand why anyone hasn't done this earlier, is wrote to find out to, I think it was Mayorkas, to find out why are we out of money in FEMA.
Yeah. Well, it's easier for
He's the only
illegals.
one asking the question, but this goes back to what you said. I don't know if I have it here.
It's easier for illegal migrants to qualify for FEMA assistance than it is people in America. That's the biggest glaring thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we are not a priority. And that's really all you need to know.
It's really not that we're a priority. We're not even a priority.
I mean, we have to jump through hoops.
We're an enemy.
If we're affected
we're an enemy
by a hurricane to get help when it's just handed to an illegal. And that's
But you also have to put it in the context of what it is. We're an enemy of the communists.
Mm-hmm.
The army that's being taken care of are the illegal immigrants. When you mentioned the hotels in New York are staffed by military personnel.
Yep.
These are people who are going to become part of the military, and these are people who are going to put us in the FEMA camps. So,
well, we don't know about the FEMA camps. We haven't really heard very much about those in a couple of years, have we? Have you heard something?
I've heard recently in the last few months or so that you remember all those COVID FEMA camps that they were building, that they're secretly building more of them.
Yeah, years ago I did hear about that. I wonder though if there's any talk about that. I mean, you bring up a very valid point. I just haven't heard anything lately. But what I will say is that, the people that have been left homeless from Hurricane Helene, they would have had places to go had illegals not taken over the hotels. And if that doesn't make you crazy, I don't know what will. So,
Marianne asked, what about General Flynn? I haven't studied him as much as some of the others that I don't know if I don't think he was in the Trump administration initially.
General Flynn?
Yeah.
I want to say he was.
I don't know why I don't know that.
I don't know that either, but
I know more about like the guys like Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro,
let me look that up.
Kash Patel. Those are the guys that, at least in the new administration, need to be part of. General Flynn should definitely be part of the new Trump administration. Yeah, he was a former advisor for Trump. Yeah,
he was okay. Yeah. That I was going to say that sounded like he was, if I recall.
But Flynn, he resigned from the Trump less than a month after Trump's inauguration in 2017. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay, it's all coming back to me now. And he was charged with lying to the FBI, so he didn't have a very long term as an advisor with them. And then they went after. They threatened his son with jail time. So they basically bankrupted Flynn. So I know he's pissed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Tony, on Hurricane Milton, the latest news is that the track is still headed towards the Tampa Bay area, which is the west coast of Florida, kind of the center of the west coast of Florida. And the category is...
It's a 1 currently.
Yeah, but it's going to be probably a 3 by the time it makes landfall.
Right.
Potentially a 4. If it's a 3, it may not be as bad. If it's a 4, it's not going to be good. 5 would be catastrophic. There's supposed to be wind shear and dry air to the north of it when it makes landfall to hopefully weaken the storm by the time it makes landfall. But, we won't really know anything until the very last moment.
But we are going to have an update in about 5 minutes. So
okay,
6
so we'll
minutes.
hang on until we get the new update. But it hasn't really changed much other than the overall intensity of it. I think the intensity, it was originally going to be a 2. They kept saying 2, but these guys never get it right.
Mm-hmm.
And they rely on all of these modeling deals. So,
have you looked at the guy you like to follow? Mike?
Mike's weather page.
He's a really good one.
Okay, so his was an hour ago, and he said that they nudged it back north again, just like Dennis Phillips did.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to deal with until the very last minute. Is going to be up, down, all around.
Walking on eggshells.
3, 4, 9, 16. The biggest hurricane we've ever seen. Maybe it'll be ripped apart by wind shear, maybe not.
I haven't been this scared about a hurricane, though, for the record.
Charlie was the one that freaked me out.
Yeah, the one that moved really
basically
quickly.
Took a right turn, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that one.
And that to me is
you're
where,
right.
okay, you're going to tell me that something didn't manipulate that?
Yeah, Charlie, you're right about
really
that.
weird.
Charlie was freaky because it moved so quickly. And the people that evacuated, they evacuated to a place where Charlie ended up hitting, right?
Yeah, because a lot of people ended up going to Orlando, and it went through Orlando. But really, honestly, by the time it gets to that area of the state, it's slowed down significantly.
Yeah.
It's the coastal areas that really...
And the inland parts that are affected by the eye, right? The quadrants, you said?
Yeah, so what'll happen is, depending on the direction it's going, so I guess the best way that I could describe it is...
You're really good at explaining that.
The front end of a car, so whatever that's, the direction is, if it's a round front end, it would be the passenger side front end is the... if it's driving in that direction, would be the most strongest part of the hurricane.
Okay, we just got an update from Dennis Phillips. No major changes with this one, as some of the models that were turning south earlier are now back north. NHC will be conservative with track changes to keep it consistent. Milton is now stronger with winds of 85 miles per hour and will continue to get stronger.
Now it's going to be a 4 and then a 3.
It will approach the west coast of Florida Wednesday as a major hurricane. No new watches for Florida with this update. So yeah, it looks identical.
No, it looks worse to me from a category.
Well,
I think at this point, guys,
they had it as a 3
it's
before.
going to be a 5 when it hits.
I don't think it's going to be a 5.
I think so.
I think if anything, it's going to be a 3, almost a 4. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 5. There's going to be all of a sudden no wind shear, no dry air, nothing. It's gonna just be a friggin' buzzsaw.
You think so?
This is going to be at this point now
because it's a 1 right now.
Every single time they continue to update it, it gets progressively worse. So the models are telling you
that's true,
that things are deteriorating from a good standpoint. That somehow wind shear and dry air is going to slow it down. I mean, it's slowed down before from a 3 to a 2. Now it's a 4 to a 3. It's going to go 4 to or 5 to 4, and then it's going to be 5 all the way through. That's what it's going to be.
Well, it's a 1 right now.
Well, because it's early. It just formed.
And it's 85 miles per hour winds.
Yeah, so it's going to be 150 mile an hour winds. It's going to blow. It'll blow our house off the foundation.
You really think a cat 4? Wait, let me ask you this: a cat, if it comes in at a cat 4, high 4, to almost say it's just a 4. If it's a 4, our house would be demolished.
Right, it could be, yeah.
Like, meaning, how would it be demolished?
Well,
the roof
4,
won't come off, will it?
Maybe not a 4. Well, it depends on so what'll end up happening you have to worry about is something blowing a window out.
I was going to say, doesn't it blow out all the windows?
And then it'll push the roof off. So
but if it's a new roof, it won't get blown off, will it?
It has nothing to do with that.
It's a suction from the windows.
Right.
The pressure.
Yeah, that's why you have to have the hurricane protection, the impact glass and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Is to keep the envelope secure.
Well, I remember learning about that because I worked for a manufacturer that actually made impact windows, and I remember bits and pieces of that. I just didn't know how it worked with the roof. Yeah. Like if you have a new roof, does that even matter?
Yeah, no, the new roof is helpful because that won't get peeled off by the wind.
And it has those hurricane straps on it, right?
Yeah, but it's always had that. Yeah. So, but the biggest thing now is that when you get into 140 mile an hour winds, you get somebody that's got like a tree limb or a brick or something like that breaks a window. That wind gets in and then pops the roof off.
Yeah, you have the suction.
Not a suction thing, but the opposite.
Yeah, like the pressure from it.
Yeah. So.
And then it could collapse.
Yeah.
The whole house.
Yeah, basically.
So it's like an explosion.
Yeah.
Great. So we'll just go in the closet.
No, I think.
What's the best place to go?
Landfalls, go to my mother's house because she has hurricane protection.
So if there is,
and it's near the firehouse.
So if it's a 4, we'll definitely go there.
We need to get the hell out of here. Yeah.
Okay. Well, now you know our plan,
maybe
people.
Like a 4, maybe like a lower 4, not, but a higher 4, definitely a 5. Yeah.
So a lower 4 you'd stay?
Probably, yeah. It just depends on the wind speeds.
Yeah, well, you know about all that stuff. You're good at you're good at
I don't know. I
understanding
have to think.
stuff.
I have to think it through because right now it's just like this is what makes me manic.
Yeah, me too.
Is every effing
feel like
update
sick.
that comes
Yeah.
out, they change the direction of it. Now, Tony, you asked. I'm wondering when it will suddenly change course.
Well, all the spaghetti models are pointing in the same direction. They have been. That has not changed.
Yeah, that's concerning because all the models kind of keep it relatively tight.
Yeah,
and keep
they
it
are.
in the same direction. So that means it's more accurate.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, we've had this before where we were looking at a 5 going right over us, and I was like, at that point, I'm like,
we were freaking out.
And then all of a sudden, it changes course. And I can't remember which one that was. It ended up being a 3 going right over our house. That was pretty destructive. That's why a 4 I worry about.
Was that Ida? Maybe.
No, it was.
We've had so many hurricanes.
I lose track of them.
So do I. Was that the one that demolished our pool cage?
No, that was
Ida, right?
Was, Ivan.
Ivan, sorry. Good memory.
And that one wasn't even that bad. It was because that was another year where we had one after another hurricane.
We had 4 in a row.
Yeah.
Now, the one you're talking about that we lived through, which was a Cat 3, that was I want to say that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was it Ian?
Yeah, maybe it was.
That was when it went right straight up the middle of the state.
Yeah. And that was really bad. That scared me so much when it came through. It sounded like a freight train at our front door, and we live in a really old house too. But it sounded, and Dennis had to put a 2x4 drilled into our door across the door, and it was scary. That was really scary. So if we're dealing with that type of storm, well, actually, it may be very similar to that if it's a Cat 3. But there were trees like on houses and everything. Dennis
we
and
had
I,
a lot of trees that came down on houses.
Mm-hmm. We walked outside and went to the park. There's a park near our house, and it was like trees were on top of roofs, just debris everywhere. There was a huge tree in the middle of like where a fence was. There was a tree on top of a house. It was really crazy.
Irma.
It was Irma? Okay. But we didn't have any major flooding on that one.
No, but we did have before Irma. I think it was Tropical Storm Emily. That just sat over the area.
Yep. And wouldn't let up. We had tons of water.
There was flooding in places that never had flooding before.
Yeah. Well, the sad part is where we live, not very far from us. I would probably say about 20 minutes from us, 20 or 30 minutes, near the coast. That was completely underwater. I mean, they haven't recovered at all from Helene. So this is what makes it even more devastating for all of those people that aren't that far from where we live. That's what breaks my heart. Like, I think we will be okay. Even if it's a Cat 5, like you said, we'll find a place to be safe. But my heart goes out for all of the people that have already been literally underwater.
We're not in a flood zone area either, or a storm surge area,
right.
But almost.
Yeah, I know.
That's how crazy it is.
I know.
Is that
we're really not that far away when you think about it. Like, it feels like we're far away in terms of, our town and stuff like that. But realistically, if you look at...
But Michael was the one that...
We're not that far away.
October 10th. in 2018. That one I remember the most because that one struck the Panhandle, Mexico Beach. That was a Cat 5.
Yeah. In Mexico Beach flattened, right?
Yeah. What ended up happening was virtually, now it was a real small area because the eye was very, very small. Kind of like what's happening with this one is. Yeah. Most likely. That's what the models are saying.
Right. And they've been talking about that.
But every single home that was built on that was not on stilts got wiped out. Every one.
But there weren't a lot of people that lived there, right?
Mexico Beach, I don't think. I mean, definitely not as much as like
Miami or something. Obviously.
Tampa, St. Petersburg, Sarasota. Yeah. Yeah.
I just remember you saying that there wasn't like a huge population there, in that city.
Yeah, not as much. I mean, I think there was plenty of people there. It's more in the elbow that there's not as many.
I don't even know where
this one went. This one went into Mexico Beach, which is closer to farther west than, I think it's west of Tallahassee. I'm not sure, but.
So, in your opinion, the way the projected path right now for Milton is, it comes through our neighborhood. At least that's what it looked like, because they were even referencing our town. So if it went through our area, then went to Tampa Bay, that's where, because St. Pete literally got struck by, what's the name of the one that we just had? I can't remember now. Helene. So do you think that area in St. Pete would also be hit by Milton?
It just depends because, so the way they have it now, this last one that Dennis Phillips put up, it has the eye going over like Bradenton.
Right.
So south of Bradenton, Sarasota, will get wiped because with storm surge. Bradenton, because it's like the east, like the front right side of it when it makes landfall.
Which is Longboat Key.
Holmes Beach, like Anna Maria Island, those places.
That just got
Yeah.
Pummeled.
Yeah, everything on Anna Maria will be wiped off the beach.
What about Longboat Key? Is that the same thing?
Yeah, Longboat Key connects to it. So North Longboat Key.
Okay.
That's the way the path is right now.
Right, right.
But of course, it's definitely going to change. But
right.
But there are a lot of homes in Anna Maria that are older. They're not built up on stilts. So
and you know this because you lived there.
Yeah. So the storm surge is going to wipe out virtually everything. This is the storm I just talked about the other day to somebody. That you have a direct hit on a Cat 5 on those barrier islands, you will not have those barrier islands anymore.
Yeah.
It just depends on how small and compact it is on the spread of the devastation. So what these guys were saying earlier is if there's a dry air or wind shear, that it kind of breaks up the storm, meaning it'll make it bigger. The wind, like all the wind and everything, it'll weaken it, but it'll expand it, make it bigger.
Yeah, I did see that where it's like at the last minute it like gets really big. It looks like before it hits shore, which was weird.
Yeah.
And
so I don't know.
The thing that makes me confused about a lot of this stuff, and you know this stuff way better than I do, and you do a great job explaining it, by the way, is when you're talking about like the different quadrants, that the side that it can hit on, like even if you're not on the coastline, if you're in a certain quadrant where the eye is, that can really do a lot of destruction inland.
Yeah.
And so I think you do a good job explaining that piece of it. And you said what's the wind side? What is it?
The north. So the direction it's going in. So the front of the hurricane and the direction it's going to be the right front quadrant.
Right front quadrant. Okay.
And the storm surge, now the way it's going in, Tampa should not get storm surge. Tampa, it's going to be south of the hurricane. That's going to get the storm surge.
You want to hear something funny on a lighter note?
No.
So I just got a message from my mom, and she's like, I'm going to be glued to the TV watching for you, because she lives on the East Coast. And of course she says, oh, I'm going for a colonoscopy tomorrow. And I'm like, seriously? Like, I really would need to know that you're having a colonoscopy tomorrow. With all the stress I'm already under, I don't need to worry
Thanks,
about
Mom.
It's a mother for you. Love you, Mom. Love you. I do love my mom. All right. Well, I don't know how many people have joined us now, but
let's see.
Any last thoughts of the day? And we can definitely do this again.
I guess people on Rumble got bored
next week,
so they're gone. We only have 4 on YouTube. We have some people sticking with us. Marianne, for sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne.
Tony,
I don't know
if you left. You might have gotten bored. Susan Fit, I'm pretty sure you got bored and left.
We'll definitely do this again.
But it was fun. I mean, I like to hear myself talk.
I know you do. I've been with you for 23 years. I know this.
I mean, if anything, it's a way for me to hear myself talk. I'm glad that Marianne likes it, though. That's good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Marianne. I appreciate the prayers.
Yes, definitely.
Well, we'll see. It's a long, it's not that long, but it's long enough to where things can make a change. And I'm hoping they do, because right now we're in the path of this is the worst part. The way it's going in right now is we're in trouble.
Yeah. So if we're here next week, we'll definitely have a show.
Yeah. I might have a lot of light from our, next time we broadcast, because we won't have a roof, so I'll have a...
No, we'll be fine, but we'll make it a little bit more uplifting than it was today.
Yeah, it was kind of a bummer.
This is kind of a dark show.
We have 15 on X.
But no, I think that we should definitely do this again, and we'll have other topics that we'll talk about. Like, it doesn't even have to be related, obviously, to hurricanes. We don't, it's best that we don't have those conversations, because we don't want hurricanes. But like,
or the conspiracy on hurricanes.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about political stuff, but I think that we should probably mix it up and talk about other things too. Like, even if it has to do with, random topics like marriage or career, things like that, we can talk about that are a little bit different than what everybody else is reporting. Because we certainly don't want people to be bored. We want it to be exciting and kind of fun. And we also want people to engage in it. I mean, we don't want to be talking the entire time. So if you have comments, or if you want to be a part of the conversation, feel free to. If you have any ideas of topics, we're open to that as well. So the sky's the limit. We'll make it more of a conversation than anything.
Well, we love you too, Marianne. Thanks for sticking around. We appreciate it, and see you next time.
See you, everybody.
We'll do a stream before the hurricane makes landfall, but we have preparations to make. At this point, I'm probably going to put up the hurricane protection and all that type of stuff, so I'll need time to do that. But at that point, I don't know, maybe we'll live stream during the hurricane.
Oh my God, can you imagine? No, I don't think that's a very good idea, hon.
It's a great idea.
Oh, you're insane.
You know what we should do is have a camera outside, because we won't be able to see anything outside, so we'll put a remote camera outside.
And I'll be hanging from the telephone wire. No, and just as a reminder to everyone, Dennis and I like to do a lot of different creative things. One of which is a very passionate cook. I love to create recipes. So if you're interested in, a lot of them are beginner recipes, because I want to make them kind of easy for everyone, and I want to make them quick and affordable. So check out my Substack. It's BethanyHendrickson.substack.com. If you go to my Twitter channel. It's in the profile, and you just have to click on it and subscribe. You'll get a weekly food newsletter to your inbox every single week, and it's free, which is the best part. So if you want to support my channel, I'd appreciate that. My Twitter handle is at bcook, BCOOK. So if you're on Twitter, I'd love to connect with you. Dennis, do you want to talk about any of your channels?
Yeah, just follow me on Rumble. That's rumble.com/Dennis Hendrickson. I think, Marianne, you just found me. That's good. x.com/Den Hendrickson. And all of you are on YouTube on my channel there, and I'm sure you've all subscribed. So make sure you hit the notification bell too. I'm just curious too, next time we go live, I'll ask everybody if they get notified, because I'm wondering how many people actually get notified when we go live. You're supposed to, if you click the notification bell, and then also click all notifications. That's important. A number of years ago, YouTube changed that, but that is it.
So we'll see you next Thursday. Is that the plan?
Or before, I mean.
Or if we do an impromptu show?
Maybe Tuesday night.
Tuesday night?
Yeah, as long as we get all the...
I kind of like Sundays.
Oh, we'll do Sunday again.
I say we
not have a house then to...
If we still have a house, let's do it on Sunday.
Okay.
So we'll do this particular show, the one that we're on now, together on Sundays.
Yeah, the regular one on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll do that one on Sundays. So mark your calendars for that. And then Dennis also does other shows. So definitely, click your notification.
We might do a random one on Thursday. Tuesday. I mean, not Thursday. Thursday is supposed to be the landfall, I think.
No, Wednesday is.
Okay.
So
Tuesday night maybe.
Tuesday night, I don't think we're going to be able to do that because I'll be doing last minute laundry before our roof blows off. So I say maybe, okay, we'll leave it this way. Tuesday, ? Sunday for sure. How's that?
Okay.
Well, thank you again, everybody, for joining us. We really appreciate it.